Here goes. Happy Tuesday chat topic. I'm streaming for the first time from my StreamYard software, and I have no idea if you can hear me. Let me know in the chat. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Can you hear me? Thumbs up, thumbs down. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nope. Testing. I see there's a few people there. Hello. Cameron Barfield, can you hear me? Lil Boost, how is my son? He's great. But before we get to that, can you hear me? Thumbs up. Yes. See? Bueno. Escucha me. I said that right. Luke Walker says, hey, Caleb Leverett. Hey, Tony. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. It's hard for me to read without my glasses that I haven't got yet. Good to see you. Okay, so y'all can hear me. Good. Dennis Throckmorton says he can hear me. All right, cool. I'm trying this new thing called, this is what all the cool cats are doing, called StreamYard. And I don't know how to do it. I see I've got one member here. Who is that? What happens if I click on this member? Mystic Gaming is a new member. I think I can put over comments over here. It wouldn't go so stinking fast. Charlie Bronx. I'm just going to get to this right now. This age-old question. How's Parker? Parker is one. And as soon as I ever get permission from any of my children how they are doing outside of they're doing great, I promise I am going to, y'all be the first to know. But at this very moment, and it has been this way for a while due to things that I just cannot talk about, reasons I can't talk about, they are just doing great. They're doing fine. I can say that Parker is now a professional horse trainer. He specializes in breaking colts. Some people don't like to use that. They use the word starting colts. You can kind of compare that to chiropractors. You got the bone crackers and you got the soft touch. In horse training, Parker's what more or less you'd call soft touch. And yes, they're big animals. Sometimes you got to get a little stout with them. But compared to some of the people that I've seen manhandle horses, he is way, way gentle. So, Charlie Bunks, thank you for the question. And I'm not going to be talking about that very much because that's the question I get all the time. And I'm not mad at anybody for asking. It's perfectly normal to ask, but I just can't talk about. I've got reasons that I can't even say why I can't talk about them. I just can't talk about it, but everybody is fine. Okay, we're almost at month end, and I'm bored, and I want to try out my brand new StreamYard. StreamYard, again, is what all the cool cats are doing, and we're coming up on the 9-year anniversary. 9-year anniversary of the Parker movie. I have got a lot more gray hair. Look at that. A lot lighter hair at the top. I've lost some hair. In the Parker movie, y'all never see me, but I actually have a ponytail in that movie, in the Parker movie. Whenever we got sued again and went to court, I subpoenaed Officer Brandon Spinks of the Odessa Police Department. And as I saw him in the hall, I recognized him right away. And I had cut my hair because that's kind of what you do. Especially in family court, you don't go to family court. I'm not saying never, but I decided not to go to family court with a ponytail. And so I cut my hair and I saw him come down the hall. I was like, hey man, how's it going? Long time no see. Been 2.5 months. And he looked at me blankly, just kind of stared around. And then my lawyer he asked who it was. I told him. And then he came over and they was talking to him. I said, "Hey, it's good to see you again." He goes, and he still looked at me funny. I said, "I'm the guy that subpoenaed you here. My son in the video." He goes, "Oh my God, you cut your hair. I didn't even recognize you like at all." So yeah, that was 9 years ago on June 6th. If you look on the Parker movie, it actually we've already passed the 9-year anniversary. June 6th is when it went live for the world to see. It actually happened on May 26th, Sunday at 2:01 at on May 26th is when it actually happened. And then I uploaded it to my channel just in case I needed it. I did not want to release the Parker movie. I did not want to do that. I was basically using it as leverage. Some things happened in those 2 weeks there. I was trying to negotiate out of court, as you heard me arguing in the movie. It's just a lot cheaper, and usually the results are a lot better for the most people. If you solve your problems outside of court, well, it obviously didn't go that way, and some things happened where people were trespassing on my land and leaving strange notes for Parker. "We love you." I'd take him to school one morning, and he just got out and threw the note. It was taped to a rock or something. He threw it in the dumpster. Well, we came back after I picked him up from school, and somebody dug it out of the dumpster and continued to write on that note and step on my property and placed it again, said, "We still miss you." And that set him off. He's pissed. And so I was pissed. The audacity, it was like dark or damn near dark. And you just don't do that. And so I kind of put 2 and 2 together, since I've been to 3rd grade, I used my context clues and put 2 and 2 together and just figured out who it was. And so that was all I needed. That night, got in and it went live. And then I turned my computer off. And on May 6th, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember the chronological events. Yeah, that was a Friday, I believe. It was Friday. I picked Parker up from school. I just bought him his own phone. His phone, he'd never had a phone that he could keep without getting confiscated. He always had to smuggle one, but I bought him his own iPhone, and his number was like just 1 or 2 digits off from mine. So that Friday, as we'd done the previous Friday, I don't know, I guess that was the first one. That was the first time we picked him up. The other 3 kids. We went and picked them up. Didn't even look at YouTube. Didn't think twice about it. Went and picked them up just like I always did. It's like I'd always done in the past. I always picked up my kids, regardless of how badly some people would love to believe that I just got tired of doing domestic and just checked out on that a long time ago. That simply isn't true. I never missed a single visitation since I was reduced to a visitor. Went and picked up the Cheerins, and the very next day, we were scheduled to drive to Ruidoso, New Mexico, where my parents, back when we were still talking, had a mountain house at a vacation house out there. And it was gorgeous. Oh my gosh. If you've never been to Ruidoso, New Mexico, it is like this weird oasis. You're driving west out of northern panhandle part of Texas, and it is butt ugly. It's just like oil-filled wells and just junk, just shit land. It's crap. It's just ugly. Denver City. Bleh. And you're driving west, and all of a sudden you look on the horizon and you see it looks like just a tiny little hill, but what you're seeing is like 30 miles away or 20 miles away, and it just slowly gets bigger and bigger, and you start it seems like you're descending, but you're actually ascending because you're going to wind up deep in the mountains. And it is absolutely gorgeous there. Well, Mom and Dad at the time let us stay there, and I had all 4 of my kids, and I'd woken up that morning before I went and got the other kids, and I didn't have like 150 subscribers at the time. I'd had my channel for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Well, since 08. And there was 7,500 views on that thing. And it just what the hell? What is going on here? I'd never had that, like, ever. Like, I just figured this would have been something dead. You know, the first 3 minutes, I'm literally just sitting there with my thumb up my ass, just holding my camera up, just nothing's happening. And like that, I knew that wasn't a selling point, but I also knew that you go editing a bunch of stuff in these type of videos where you're wanting proof, and you edit it the way you'll edit that, the way you'll edit that. I mean, we all knew how editing was. Everybody knew it. It's still that way today. If you edit too much, or even in this case at all, you start losing credibility. Anyway, I'd uploaded it I'd pushed live, and the next day it was 7,500, but I didn't have time to like revel, and I had to go get the kids. And so we drove all the way to Ruidoso. That is either the Friday or Saturday. I can't remember. And then we get to Ruidoso that night, and there's 15,000 views. And I'm just like, holy crap, what in the world just happened? And the next morning there's 30,000. And then the next morning there was 60,000. The next morning it doubled every day for like 5 or 6 days. But anyways, that was 9 years ago. That was many, many moons ago. It was many, many gray hairs ago. I didn't have very much gray. I didn't hardly have any gray. I had a few, but not many. Now pretty much everything I have is gray. And so much has changed, and the kids are all big now, and it's such a relief. I thought it was nice when they could wipe their own butts. Man, this is a lot nicer now that they're big. Did you go to court when you had Parker? Yes. I got to practice this. Dog breath. That even makes it easier for me, because I can just barely see it little over here. And then up here, it makes it a little easier. Dog ver. Did you go to court when you had Parker? Yes. 2.5 months later, we were sued yet again. And Judge Den Whalen did not like me. He read a quote that I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but Parker actually got on the stand at 14. He wasn't, Judge Whalen, for whatever reason, wouldn't take him back in his chambers like Judge Billingsley did 4 years later. Bless her heart. He made him get on the stand. He's nervous. But I think what ultimately made Judge Den Whalen really, really, really hate me is I had been commenting, and I was getting frustrated. It's a total YouTube noob screw up, and I made it. I was getting taking the comments way too personally. Of course, back then I was younger, my kids were young, and I got the whole world arguing. You know, most people, just like they are today, even back then, were like 97% in support of Parker, but there were some trolls. The people who really, really, really don't like me, like hate me, and they're really strong, and they just would not leave it alone. And so I was just, defending my son, doing the best what, I thought, defending him. And probably shouldn't have said it, but I did it. I got so fed up. I said something like, and this is I'm just quoting my own words here. So if you've got little ones around, just push mute for a second. Fuck the mom, fuck the dad, fuck the court, fuck me, and fuck you. This video is about my son, Parker. It is about his choice to live where he wanted to. That's what I said. It wasn't directed, I don't think, at anybody in particular. It was just a comment. I was like, this is about my son. It's not what, greedy dad or greedy mom or asshole dad or crazy mom. It's not about either one of those. It was about my son. Well, Brad Miller, the opposition's lawyer, whipped that out. When you go to court, I've said this 1,000 times. You look over at the opposition's table, and there's always a stack of papers. And that stack of printout paper is everything you've ever said online when you go to family court, because they're going to use anything to get you out. I'm sorry, to put you in jail, make you out to be a horrible person, horrible parent. And that was in the stack. That's where I learned about that stack, because he picked a paper off the top of that stack, and he just destroyed me. He destroyed me. Brad Miller. He got me good. I'll give it to him. He did. He said, "Is this a comment from you? Is this your name?" Did the whole lawyer thing. I said, "Yes." And he said, "Can you read it?" I was like, "Okay." Well, I mean, it's a bunch of F-bombs in it, but yeah, I'll read it. I didn't think much of it. I know you're generally not supposed to cuss in court. If you're quoting yourself or something like that, or they're playing a recording, it's allowed, but you can't say, hey, dickhead, or, talking to, you just can't, the judge will get on to you. If you're quoting something, it's just normal language. Anyway, I was like, that's what I was worried about. I wasn't worried about what I said, because I meant every bit of it, them and me. And I read it aloud, and Judge Whalen looked at me and he said, "Let me see that." I was like, "Okay." So I handed it to him. And where the part where I said F the court, he took that as if I personally looked him in the eye and said, "Judge Whalen, fuck you." And he goes, "Are you talking about me?" I was like, "No." Like, why? Like, I was totally clueless as to what he's talking about. And once he heard that, once he saw that, it was so blatantly obvious. He got so butthurt, like childishly butthurt, that he just thought I just hurt his feelings. And like I was actually talking to him. We hadn't been talking. I didn't even know who he was at the time. I hadn't a clue who the guy was. I didn't keep up with judges back then. I mean, I was new to this. I'd been in his court for sure once, whenever I got sued. She sued me and my then wife and both of her parents, and accused us of sexual misconduct with my then 2-year-old daughter. Other than that, and he did us a solid back then. He saw that and he said, no. He just like totally dismissed it because it was absurd. And I guess I'll give him credit for that. But I didn't even register, like, I think I'm just going to get online and just randomly pull out Judge Whalen, whom I really don't know. And I've only been in his court once, and it was 2 or 3 years prior. I couldn't even remember the guy's name, and just talk shit about Judge Whalen. And he acted like that's exactly what I did. And it was so bizarre, because after that, Parker got on the stand. My sister got on the stand. My mother got on the stand. Parker said, "I want to live with my dad." And he was just dismissive, totally being a dick. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Well, since Parker was on the stand or a witness, I forget how that works, he couldn't be in the courtroom. He had to be out in the hall. And that my sister went through, my mother, just, talking good things about me. And he made up his mind. He said the boy is to be in the possession of his mother effective 5 o'clock today. Boom. Where's my gavel? Got a gavel here for effect. Boom. That was at 4:45 p.m. And I was given 15 minutes to tell him goodbye. I had to walk out into the hallway. And he just, when I opened the door, he saw the look on my face. I was just like Judge Whalen effectively stabbed me in the fucking heart. That's how bad that hurt. That was the worst feeling I'd ever had. And I had to tell him on the spot, and Parker just started to lose it. And I had to grab him, and then these cops come around. "If you don't get to control him, you're going to go in handcuffs." And I'm like pulling out my camera and start recording him. And they're, calming Parker down, recording, because I didn't know what they're going to do to us. I didn't know how, Parker, even at 14, he's strong. He was real strong, and he was really upset. And they said, "We're going to arrest you for recording. You can't record in here." And I was like, there's a pot from CBS 7 right there recording next to us. And they just weren't having it. You can record, not in the courtroom, but anywhere else. It's public. And they knew that. They were just picking on me. But I turned it off, and I calmed him down, and we walked out. And once we crossed over the street to the parking lot, then I knew, there's nothing they could do. They could not stop me from recording. So that became, if any of you've seen it, and many of you have, not as many as seen the original Parker versus the Man, where Parker engaged in civil disobedience and decided he did not want to go back. So anyway, Dog VR, thank you for your comment or your question. This is just kind of cool. Now I can hide it. Oh, cool. I'm going to get to some more questions, but happy Tuesday, but the thumbnail, you don't look happy from Wi-Fi E. Happy Tuesday, but the thumbnail. Thank you for that feedback. It doesn't give me the option in StreamYard to see what my thumbnail looks like. That's good to know. I can upload my own, and I could have done that. That was pretty self-explanatory. I just decided not to. I was actually going to ask, if y'all happen to notice what the thumbnail was. I didn't know when I didn't know when to say cheese. So Wifey E, thank you for that. But it is Happy Tuesday. That kind of brings me, whoa, hang on, who's that? I think you talked about this in Mr. Palmer's vid. Panagotis gorillas. I probably did. I've talked about it a little bit. Pardon me just one second. If you'd like. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, Mr. Palmer's video. If y'all, if you get a chance, y'all check out Mr. Palmer. That guy, his give a shit, I believe, is more broke than mine. That guy he's raunchy, but man, is he effective. I did an interview last year sometime. I was still in my boat. I'd never heard of him. And I kept seeing in the comments, saw you on Mr. Palmer, saw you, Mr. Palmer's like, who the hell's Mr. Palmer? I looked up his channel, and the first thing that popped up was Mr. Palmer is a fellow YouTuber, and he was playing the Parker movie. No. He's one or the other. I don't remember. Yeah, he did both of them. I don't remember which one I saw first. And he's got his shtick. He calls them baby mama terrorists, BMTs. Oh, it's hilarious. And he's the one, I've even got a sound. I don't know which is which. I've only used these buttons a couple of times. Let me see if y'all can hear this. Is there a laugh track? Do y'all hear a laugh track? I think I've got the volume up on it. There we go. He's playing, he's got all these laugh track. It's not a laugh track. He's got, you just have to hear it. Dun, dun, dun. He's got these funny tracks, and you can program these. I just don't know how to do it. But anyway, he was going on. Okay, yes, y'all can hear it. That's cool. Oh, my girl's gonna tune in. Hello, honey bunny. Anyways, he was going off on people and defending my son. And I must admit, I remember now, I think he'd already done the Parker movie. When I tuned in, he was doing Parker versus the Man. And I hadn't watched Parker versus the Man in years at that time, because it's the worst fucking day of my life. And it's really hard and triggering for me. That's such a weird word. We never used to say that like 20 plus years ago. No one ever said that, but it's part of the lexicon now, so I'll use it. It was very triggering for me, and it still is to this day. But when I tuned into him, I think he was live. I'm not sure, but I think he was live at the time. And Mr. Palmer, like, completely demands respect. He's a very confident man. And like I said, his give a shit is, I think, more broke than mine. When it comes to defending right from wrong, and he just cannot stand what he calls baby mama terrorists. And as hard as it is for me to watch the Parker movie, to witness a man of his stature, he's just right there in your face, and he knows exactly what he's going to say, how he's going to say it. And again, he's really, really crude, which is, doesn't bother me at all. But I know some people that bothers. I don't know why. I was raised in a family where, they wouldn't even give him the time of day to watch him just because, he's really crude, but he's very, very accurate. And to watch that man defend Parker, I ain't gonna lie, it just, I bust out in fucking tears. I just started bawling as if I was there again, because it means a lot when people make those videos like that to me. There's just something comforting. They say no man is an island. No matter how independent you think you are, I think I am, the strongest person thinks they are. Every single one of us, in some shape, form, or fashion, some more than others, but everyone somehow needs somebody else. And when I see another YouTuber that covers any of my videos, it just, especially, not many people cover Parker versus the Man. I've had a few, but not many. And he was covering Parker versus the Man. The way he was defending him, it just brought a tear to my eye. And I was very, very, very appreciative. And then he got a hold of me. Actually, a bunch of he's got a pretty solid fan base. They're real dedicated, like really dedicated. It's smaller than my channel numbers wise, but his viewers, his viewership is amazing. It really is. They started, comment bombing every social media I had, get a hold of Mr. Palmer, Mr. Palmer. Oh, hi. So I got a hold of him, and he asked if I would come on. I said, dude, I'm in my sailboat. I'd love to, but it was hot. My God, it was in the middle of the summer, and my air conditioner is so loud. Y'all don't know if y'all can hear this one. This air conditioner in my tiny house it's annoying, but it's not loud. In the boat, it's loud. So all I had was my phone. And he said, that's fine. I can just patch you in. I'm like, okay, I'll try. So I turned off my air conditioner, and I talked to the man on an interview the best I could without just panting, just talking. And I don't know. I watched part of it. I didn't watch it all. And audio is not that great with just a phone. But for over an hour, or about an hour, or at least an hour, we talked, and it was a nice interview. So, Panna, I wished I could pronounce it. Panna Giotis Georgilis. Thank you for bringing up Mr. Palmer. He is definitely a friend of the show. If y'all get a chance, all you got to do, and you don't have to find, I don't have a link on it. I still don't know how to do it on StreamYard, but just in the YouTube search, look up Mr. Palmer or Mr. Palmer Parker video or something like that. They'll pop up. Please subscribe to the man. He's a powerhouse, and I just appreciate him so much. Another person that people tag me about is a bigger channel, and her name is Bose. Bose, I think she changed the name of it. It was Bose versus the World, but she changed it to Bose Does True Crime. And what she specializes in, apparently she's either, I don't know if she's a lawyer, but she's at least some kind of legal aid. And she really, like, way over my head, understands procedure. She's like knee deep in alligators and the Johnny Depp stuff. And if y'all want to talk about that later, we can. I'm not the greatest, but I've somewhat kept up with it. But she covered the original Parker movie. That's the people that cover my channel. 90% of everybody that covers it's always the Parker movie. And a few people like Mr. Palmer and a couple others, Dwayne over at DSD, Dad Surviving Divorce. He's covered my channel for years. But she's got a huge channel, and she covered the Parker movie. And I can watch the Parker movie. It's kind of like bittersweet. Like, it was hard. and a pain in the ass and traumatic, not just for me to be in it, but to watch my own son go through it. But I can watch that one without breaking down in tears. If for no other reason, I watched my own son, and it's forever. The whole world can watch my own son go. He changed from a boy to a man that day. I firmly believe that. It's a process, but that was the tripping point, the tipping point. He entered into manhood right then, and so that part, along with OPD telling us, we were free to go, that was nice, and I can get through it. And Mr. Palmer, he is funny, but he doesn't necessarily crack jokes, but the way the shit he says is just, he's not even intending to be funny, but he just is one of those guys. Bose, on the other hand, she is a little ring-tailed tutor, and she's full of crap as a Christmas turkey. The things she come up with, oh, she just made me laugh. I did finally finish watching the whole thing. I lived it. I've seen it 1,000 times. I watched like 15 minutes of it, and I was just dying laughing. The way the crap she come up with. There's this one scene where his mother is like, she kind of turns sideways with the baby, and she paused it. Apparently, she goes live on Stitch or Twitch. She goes live on Twitch. And then after she does her thing on Twitch, then she takes back and does edits and puts it into her YouTube channel. Well, there's this one part where Parker's mother's doing this. She put the baby, and she bent over and she pauses it, and she just looks like this mechanic, like Schwarzenegger movie looking thing. It just comes over and her eye turns red, a laser comes out, and oh my God, I just about pissed myself when I saw that. I laughed so hard. And there's Dwayne. Yeah. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, Dwayne. I'm going to test that out. I don't know if you can. No, you can't click on links, but there's Dwayne. I did an interview. I've actually done 2 or 3 interviews with him. He's one of the very first YouTubers that reached out to me. In fact, Dwayne at DSD here, he's the one that reached out to me a couple years ago when I was getting evicted, and showed me how to go live on YouTube. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't use YouTube that way back then. I just was old school, made a video, throw it up on the internet. Made a video, threw it up on the internet. I used Facebook Live years before that because it was easy, like 2 or 3 buttons in your live. But with YouTube, you got all kinds of buttons you got to click and stuff you have to put in, say yes or no. You got to approve stuff. And it seems like every 6 months, it gets a little more and more difficult. I mean, you can't even I was trying to access it before he got a hold of me, and it just wouldn't work on my computer. And you have to have like Google Chrome. I didn't understand the difference in browsers, but Dwayne, thank you very much, is the one that coached me through that. Who coincidentally also has my oldest interview with him. Shoot, that was 2017. Is either right before or right after I got Blaine. I can't remember. Let's see. What was the lawyer's channel? I'll see if I can find that video. Her name is Bose, Boze, Bose versus the World. And she's just got a monster channel. Like, again, she's just knee deep in alligators with the Johnny Depp stuff. And speaking of, I guess I can say this. I do have a girlfriend now, and that's how she and I kind of met, was because of Bose. So thanks, Bose. Worked out well, really well for us. She is also the type that understands court papers very well, and proceedings and cross-examinations. And I have a kindergartner's understanding on the actual procedure. That's not exactly. I understand it just because I've been in it a little bit, but it's not my forte. I don't understand, some of the things they say, and people gasp. I'm like, what are you gasping for? I don't know. Well, that's when they say that means blah, 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 blah. Bose And her, I'm not even going to say her name because I don't even know if she wants me to say her name, but I haven't even talked to her about that. That's one of those things. Until you talk to somebody about it, you best keep your mouth shut. Kind of like the way I don't talk about my cheerings because I've talked to them, and at this point, they keep everything. They want everything private. Is Boss going to make part 2 soon? Depatri. That's a very good question, Depatri. I can only assume you've seen. She said Boss. I assume you meant Bose. We chatted back and forth a little bit. I haven't bugged her with it. I know she's busy. Just said if you do decide to make a part 2, she said she'd do a follow-up or something. I don't even remember. I said, well, if you do anything, just do Parker versus the Man and grab a tissue or a box of tissues because you're gonna fucking need it. So yeah, okay, yeah, Bose. I don't know. Y'all go hit her up in her comment section. Ask her. I would love to see, the way she covered the Parker movie. She's very analytical. She understands parental alienation. She understands the difference between bipolar disorder and all the different psycho head problems people have. I don't know. She's got to have a degree in that or something. I don't know that, or she's just naturally gifted. But she's she's got that end of it, but she's also got the comedy end of it. She's young. I think she's like 29 or 30. So she's maybe not a generation behind me, but she's a good 15 years behind me. Well, that's damn near a generation. So she's a little older than Parker, but significantly younger than me. So she adds the young people's way of, it just made me laugh. Let me see what this says. If I can answer this, what is the craziest moment of gaslighting you saw in the Parker movie? The part that probably pissed me off the most that I couldn't say anything was being called Caleb and Jason being referred to as dad in front of my own son. That's probably the most commented thing that people say. Caleb, I don't know how you bit your tongue. I would have blah, blah, blah. I would have, raised hell. I would have started throwing punches. Hair would have been pulled, shots fired, cops called. And what I tell people is when you are in that's what I try to teach people. When you are in that kind of situation where it's very, very tense and it involves your own child, you are better saying nothing, and some people think you were a fool, than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Because if you get into this squabbling, he's not my dad. No, I'm his dad. No, it's not true. I'm current on child support. You got the check. You start talking like that, you're gonna lose. You're just gonna. It's completely pointless to lose your cool, and it was completely pointless for me to even argue with her. I'm just not gonna argue with her. There's the reason I left, and the whole world's seen it now. So when you get in those situations, especially if cameras are running, just assume the courts are going to see it. Assume the judge is going to see it. Be on your best behavior, and going back and forth over petty stuff like that, pointless. If it didn't work in your marriage, you got divorced, it ain't going to work after your marriage. So just let them talk. Let them refer to the other person as dad all they want to. Let them belittle you and say you're a drunk and you're getting high, you stoned. Let them just run their ignorant mouths all they want to, and just sit there and just take it. And that sounds crazy, but if you just take it and then it goes to court, if they're smart, they figure out what you're doing, and that would be shown to the judge, they're probably going to be more willing to work with you outside of court. Like, in other words, oh my God, they got all that on camera. Okay, I'll behave myself now. Okay, yeah, now that you mention it, we can work this out on our own. Usually, not everybody's that sane, but usually. But if it does go to court and they do see some things, if you're up there, well, why did you get so upset and you shouldn't have done this? Well, he was calling me his dad, the other guy's dad, and it was just pointless. I just wasn't going to argue. So, anyways, that was a good question. This is kind of fun doing this through StreamYard and putting these questions up there. Let's see. This is from Amanda Franklin. A lot of Bose's content is on Twitch, so she may cover it there, but I assume she'll put an update if she films one. I hope she does. I really hope she does. And there's another one from Ms. Amanda. Cooler heads always prevail. Oh, she's got a cute little butterfly. Psychology disorders, you mean? Yeah, pretty much. Man, am I that far behind? Oh, no, I'm not. Ray Bands 1A YouTube YT. Your ex-wife in your famous video with Parker was so hilarious. She was so dramatic. Man, it never ceases to amaze me the variety of descriptive words that people have for that. Most people cry. Maybe you've got some, maybe the screws in your head are as loose as the screws in my head, and you found it hilarious. Because I have to admit, I'm not making fun of you, by the way, Ray-Bans. I'm just as demented as anybody. I love dark humor. I absolutely love it. But if you found it a hilarious video, yes, that is my ex-wife. I'm glad you found it humorous. There's Mr. Dwayne again, StreamYard Rock. Yeah, Dwayne, I have a feeling you've probably told me about this like a long time ago, probably back when I was still a drunk. And I just didn't remember because that's how it is when you drink too much, kiddos. Drinking your sorrows away is the biggest load of shit that Hollywood has ever promoted, and it's got a $1 trillion price tag on it. And it's all crap. I cannot stand alcohol. Andrew Christie, I still can't believe that was 9 years ago. Wow, how time goes by. I was the same age as Parker when that video came out. Wow. So you're 23 now, depending on when your birthday falls. Parker turned 23 back in March. Adriana Kelly, hello. So glad you're all okay. How are the cheer-ins? The cheer-ins are good. And that's about as descriptive as I can get. I did talk about it a little bit earlier if you want to go check it out later. The Butterfly Garden. Sorry, I just found the stream. How does Parker feel about the Infants video as an adult? That's one of those questions I can't fully answer. I guess it just goes without saying it was going to be tough, even if there wasn't the video, what we had to go through. I don't know if there's any more or less tough with the video. I'm really not sure. But I wished I could. One of these days, I'm going to be able to go into more detail, or Parker himself will go into more detail if and when he decides to. That gets into the private part of their lives that I just don't feel comfortable talking about. These people, like your ex, can only have circular conversations. Don't engage. That's it. Because it's like exactly like wiping your butt with a bicycle tube. It's circular and it just makes a big old mess and doesn't achieve anything. Let's see. Okay, y'all are talking to each other. Okay, sorry. All right, I'm still getting used to this. Thank you, LOL. The video really blew up because I guess the way she reacted and kind of just how you and Parker proved your point to her and her husband, then started overreacting. Yeah, it was a classic backfire, like classic backfire from her point of view, from her perspective. Kate Johnson. Hey, man, glad to see you've been working on yourself. Why do you say cheerins instead of kids? That's funny. Don't hate me for this. I'm just being honest. Because there, those, that old song, politics, religion, and her, the things you don't talk about at, family gatherings or whatever. This gets into a little bit of politics, but people pretty much know that I don't take one side or the other. Generally speaking, I take sides on issues, but not parties. But I used to be a Republican. Not to say that I am a Democrat, because I'm not. I'm a full-blown admitted anarchist, but I used to be a Republican, and I used to listen to this man. He's dead now, but his name is Rush Limbaugh. And Rush Limbaugh at one point was a god to me. He started back in the 80s and he had the number one talk radio show in the world for, I don't know, like 25 or 30 years. He was the guy that, I don't know why, he every now and then he wouldn't say children, he'd say cheerins. And then one day he just went off on some monologue. I don't remember what it was. And it just, I don't know, it was a long time ago. And it's just always stuck. I had kids, but they're all little. And I started calling, hey, my own kids, hey, you cheerins, come here, cheerins. I'd say stuff like that. It just kind of stuck. It's not an endorsement of Rush or anything. He's not all wrong on everything, but I've just changed. So has your ex-wife tried to take that video down from your channel down? Yeah. I can't speculate on how she feels. I can guess, but I can't. That gets into some of the legal stuff. Yeah. Years ago when it first came out, but I really don't see the point in taking it down now. It's been downloaded so many times and put on other people's channels. It'd be just absolutely pointless. It's never going away, like ever. It's there for like Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond. I love Rush. Listened to him for years. I miss him from the Butter Garden. I didn't hate Rush. My philosophy changed once. I was a hardcore Republican. I don't mind talking about this. Oh, that's her message from earlier. Okay. She's in the audience, by the way. I just can't say anything. Where's that? Oh, Rush. My philosophy changed. I was a hardcore Republican my whole life. My whole family was. That's the reason I listened to it. I got it from my dad. Pretty much 90% of all of Odessa, Texas is all hardcore Republican. It's all good old boy. It's just everybody's that way. But when they jailed me, all of them were Republicans. When they jailed me, all of them were not only religious, they were Christians. Every single one of them. And I was speaking out against the injustice about it, and they stole my kids. They jailed me. They stole my bank account. They've continued to steal my bank account. I still haven't got that deal with Ken Paxton. He's now on the nomination again to get reelected again while being under indictment again as the Attorney General of Texas. They stole my bank account. All of them were Christian Republicans. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. The judges, the people that jailed me actually kept me in jail. The sheriff himself. They were all in study group in one form or fashion, but with my parents or my uncles or aunts. And they did it anyways. And since then, I've had a whole new shift on my beliefs about religion, a whole new shift on my beliefs about politics. I don't trust any of them. I don't trust any politicians. I don't trust any preachers. I just generally don't trust hardly anybody. It's a wonder I even have a girlfriend now, but I do trust her. I just don't trust anybody. And so again, Rush wasn't always wrong. I agree with, Republicans a lot of the time on some of the things like the shutdowns. It's all BS. I never did agree with it. But as far as, gay marriage and marijuana legalization, I'm right there with the Democrats on that because I think it should not only be legal, it should be celebrated. Oh, let's see what we got here. Your videos have helped me, Kayla. This is from Der Patria again. Your videos have helped me, Caleb. I'm in the exact same situation as Parker. And today was the first time I successfully stood up to my mom about pretty much anything. And yes, is there a continuation of this comment? Maybe she's still talking, or he, I'm not sure. Wow. So today was you actually did it today. Well done. Well done. I commend you. I'm sorry you're having to go through that. It takes a lot of guts. I know it does. I never stood up to Dad. We fought my whole life, but I always gave in. Okay. That's a tough thing to do, and congratulations. I can only assume this is something you've thought about for a long time, something you've probably watched my channel and many others on what to do about it. If you're watching my channel and any more than several videos of mine, I'm sure this isn't something you just flippantly thought about and said, hey, decide, screw you, mom, dad, whichever parent it is. I'm not going to talk. You're not going to talk to me that way. Stand up here. So I assume it's not that. And this was thought out for a long time, and you've researched, and you've got a reasonable ground as to a reason you give them why you're not going to put up with it anymore. So good for you. Congratulations. It's a long road. It's hard. I hope I never have to face that again. I hope to make myself the type of father, knock on wood, that I'd never have to face that type of thing. I'm not saying, everything between me and my kids is always just A-okay, perfect, and we never disagree, never have arguments, or never have problems. That's horse crap. I'm simply not going to talk about the specifics. But overall, I hope they never feel like they have to have that talk with me that way. Like, Parker did with his mother, Blaine did with his mother. I had to with my father, like 6 months, 2 or 3 months after I got Blaine, I had to disown my own father, and it sucked. And it was all over money and greed, that's my perspective. I'm sure he probably sees it completely different. I'm strange. I'm weird. I embarrassed the family by going to jail. Nobody in my family had ever gone to jail. I was the very first. But I did not get shamed. I suspect that was what some people were wanting. Well, this will shut him up. I'll just get his ass locked up in jail. And his parents will, shame him, and he'll shut up. And now, no, you underestimated me, because that's not going to shut me up. That's like telling a mama bear, oh, okay, well, go ahead and take my cub. You gave me reason. No, it's just not going to happen. I wasn't going to shut up. There's no way. Whew. Oh, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to send that. Well, good thing you didn't give your real name, so no hard feelings. Maybe they need to hear it. Maybe that's just fate. It's out there now. Butterfly Garden, congratulations on a parent of 3. You simply have to appreciate their independence and personal choices, unless it's harmful. Caleb's a good dad, but all parents have faults. I have got lots of faults. It's weird being sober. It's still weird. Like I'm going on 22 months, almost 2 years. That was one of my biggest flaws. And it was hard to admit that I had a problem. Another problem that I had, and I'll be happy as hell to talk about this, is I was overweight and I am now no longer overweight. That means that I can say fat jokes because I was once fat. I was 30 pounds more than I am now. I've still got about 10 pounds to go. I feel amazing. I've got my body fat down to around, Blaine says 15, 16, possibly 14%. I'm going for single digits, not lower single digits, but at least get down to 9. I'd like to lose about another 10 pounds, get down to around 180, maybe 12, 15, 170, get around 175, and then do a bulk up and then trim the fat back off of that and just get ripped and sweet like Cartman from South Park. But where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, everybody has faults. Yeah, I've had a lot of them. The cool thing about faults is once you admit it, once you admit that you've got a problem, you can never legitimately be called a narcissist. Like so many losers like to tell me that I am the narcissist. I'm like, no, you don't. You're either losing the argument horribly or you don't know what a narcissist is. Narcissists don't lose. Well, they lose, but they don't admit it. They don't admit they're wrong on seriously. They, on a surface level, they may, half-ass bullshit, apologize for something, but no. And when it really comes down to it, narcissists are not wrong. They never make mistakes. Nothing's their fault. It's all your fault. And I'm the king of saying, God dang, I screwed up. Not only was I drunk for 7 years, I married someone that I just wasn't compatible with. And religion said I should stay together because God hates divorce. Learned that one the hard way. Have another kid, that'll fix all your problems. Oh, yeah. And then another one. And if 3, and go ahead. Go for the gusto, Caleb. Have a 4th child. That'll fix your marriage, and God will bless you for that. I was naive. I believed the bullshit. I believe the crap that, and from my point of view and from my perspective, religion is just people making up beautiful stories to explain things that they don't understand. And I know that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way because I know a lot of my fan base, Southerners, Christian at that, and I know it bugs them. But part of even your own religion is you don't push it on other people. Well, that's the polite thing to do, anyways. But I was flawed, and I've got lots of flaws. I'm just steadily working on each and every one of them. Well, that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about today. I wished I could talk more about the Amber Turd stuff. I don't feel I can talk about family court crap and parental alienation and stuff like that till the cows come home because I lived it and I know it inside and out simply because I have firsthand experience. The Johnny Depp stuff, I can say this. I made a video about Johnny Depp back in 2018 or 19. I'd just gotten Blaine. I'd had him a year or 2. But it was way before it was really cool to shit on Amber Heard. Because it's fucking fun as shit right now. Watching the whole world shit on that piece of shit, Amber Heard. It is just glorious. Because she is one of those people that doesn't lose. For crying out loud, she married one of the most successful actors in all of history. And she was a nobody. Like nobody knew about her back when he married her. I'm sure, she had small fan base, but she wasn't anywhere near, never has been, never will be a Johnny Depp. But I think it is just amazing. Those people don't lose. I can, without saying the wrong thing, I can just say, man, Johnny, do I know exactly how you feel. Me too. That happened to me too, Johnny. And they're hard to beat. She almost took that man down. One of the most famous actors of all time, and that nobody, gosh, almost took him down. And I personally think, had he not had his handy dandy recorder and made some crucial, there's not a whole lot of her talking. There's a few confessions. I didn't fucking hit you, Johnny. I just decked you. I didn't deck you. I didn't punch you. I just hit you. He used his, he's got all this great evidence and all these wonderful character witness people and professionals talking and, on his behalf or testifying on his behalf or whatever. And that's all fine and dandy. But when it comes right down to it, when she says, I'd never hit anyone, I'm the victim, and then they play the recording and she acknowledges that's her and she says, I did hit him. It's just golden. That was his golden ticket. Now he had to unfortunately go through a bunch of embarrassing stuff that I'm pretty sure he didn't want the whole world knowing that his bed got shit in. He probably didn't want the whole world about the times he got, shit-faced drunk in his 50s. But he was willing to, that's another thing. He owns it. He owns all of his screw ups. He comes straight out. Yeah, I've been a drunk too many times. I got stoned way too many times. I've done some things that I'm embarrassed about. I've done some horrible things, but you know what I haven't done? I haven't ever laid a hand on not only Amber Heard or anybody, any other woman, any person. He hasn't done that. Because if you get labeled with that silver bullet right through the heart, you're screwed. That he stood up and was willing to admit his flaws, willing to have his name. He was back then, again, he lost pirates and people were shitting on Johnny back then. I remember I was sticking up for him. You can go watch my video. Just type in my name and Johnny Depp. And I remember making a joke. Back then, there was this Dallas police officer that shot an unarmed black man named Botham John in his own apartment. And it turned out she was so drunk, she went to the wrong floor and he'd gone to bed, apparently didn't lock his door. She walked in what she thought was her apartment, drunk as shit, saw him, a black young kid. I say kid, he's early 20s, maybe young, brand new in life. He's a student, like everyone and their dog said he was just a great person and just killed him. And she almost got away with it. I'm pretty sure she's in prison now. She's got about probably 3 or 4 more years left in prison. But back then she almost got away with it. And I made a joke about, well, Johnny, at least you're married to Amber Heard and not Amber Geiger. But anyway, back then it wasn't cool to take up for Johnny. But I could see the writing on the wall even back then. Like, Johnny, bro, you were at least 10 years older than me, maybe 15 years older than me. How in the hell does someone of your stature not see those signs? Like, you should have seen that a mile off. And I'm not faulting him because Lord knows there's so many of us have fallen for those pretty eyes like that. I guess back in the day she was hot, but I don't care what anyone says. That woman is just fucking ugly now. I can't stand to look at her. Maybe it's just because I know what she is. But anyway, that's about pretty much all I can really care to. I don't feel confident enough to talk about the legalese side of everything. I can say that I love the memes. I love the skits that people are coming out with Amber Turd, Me Poo. I absolutely love it because that is one woman that just absolutely deserves all ridicule that she can possibly stand, or if people can possibly come up with. If she ever comes out and actually apologizes to the man and actually acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, not everyone else is wrong and a liar, that maybe, just maybe, she made a horrible judgment call, a horrible decision to try to ruin him, and ask the man for forgiveness, maybe some people would do like they did for old Mel Gibson. I remember when Mel Gibson got pulled over DWI and he was drunk as shit and started, I think he went off about Jews. Like South Park just absolutely went to town with it, laughing at him and making fun of him. He was shit and shunned from Hollywood for the longest time, but eventually he apologized. Or I don't know how long it took him to apologize, but eventually Robert Downey Jr. It took someone of the stature of Robert Downey Jr. at, I don't know, the Emmys or the Golden Globes or something. He was up on the stage, and he brought Mel Gibson back in good graces with Hollywood and said everybody makes mistakes, and Mel has, I've talked to him personally, and he's apologized and he's admitted that he was wrong, and he has hugged the cactus for too long. So I just ask that he be forgiven. He's atoned for his sins, and he's hugged the cactus long enough, and he brought him up on stage, and he got a big standing ovation. If Amber Heard would ever acknowledge what she did was wrong and make a public apology, I'd be happy with, like, all right, well, I mean, you screwed up and it's out there, but she might even could possibly get her career back, but I don't see her, even if she loses, and I'm about 99.9% sure she's going to lose this case. Even if she does lose, I don't think she'll ever admit that she did anything wrong. And those type of people are the ones that need to be publicly shunned the most. People like to say, Caleb, you and your thing, why don't you ever just let it go? I've talked about this a million times. Well, no one else seems, there's people coming against me and against my cheerings. They're not letting go. Why don't you ask them? Why don't they let it go? I might be willing to let this go if I ever got a formal public apology for what happened to me and my kids. I might be able to, but you know what? Here we are 9 years later after the Parker movie, 15 years after I've gotten divorced. Next month or month after next, July 21st of this year will be 5 years since I've got custody of Blaine. And that's still not even over with. My own lawyer's still, he's technically my lawyer. He tried to quit. He was denied. There's a little tidbit nugget I hadn't let release till now. Maybe I shouldn't have said it, but I did. It's out there. He tried to quit me because of that video I made about a month and a half ago about a fellow named Robert Greene with the Texas Attorney General's office, whose conversation I recorded for about an hour and a half. Tried to let me go, and it's just a bullshit game. So I don't know how I got off on that, but yeah, it's a real awkward, to me, I don't give a shit, but I'm sure it's quite awkward for my own attorney for me to be talking shit about him. But I mean, 5 fucking years, man. It's been 5 goddamn years. July 21st will be 5 years since Judge Sarah Kate Billingsley said, bring me these babies. Hashtag bring me these babies. And awarded me primary custody blame. Awarded me child support. Awarded me meeting halfway instead of going the full way from Odessa to San Antonio. It's still not updated. And if you want to watch the details, I'm not going to go into it here, but if you want to watch the details, just watch my my video on it. About 2 months ago, March 23rd, I believe, was when it first happened. So anyways, Butterfly Garden, Caleb, narcissists never change. This is a fact. It is incurable. However, society as a whole can intervene and force a change. I don't see it. I swear I did not pay Butterfly Garden to say that, because that's exactly what I would have said. I personally think that they're not 100% human. I think there's a chromosome off somewhere. There's some chemical imbalance that makes them 99% human, but there's something wrong with them, and I don't think it's curable either. I think she's exactly right. It's not curable. Narcissism, full blown narcissism. Now, there's different degrees and levels of which I'm not an expert on, but I just don't think there's any kind of cure whatsoever. They will always be the controller type. They will always be a manipulator. They will always be out to control everyone else in their life to get what they want. And if they don't get it, depending on the severity of the consequences, they will level entire villages in order to get what they want. They don't care. They don't have any sympathy for anybody else. They can pretend to, and they do in many instances a very, very good job. They smile with a camera. They do a very, very good job of manipulating and make you think that they give a shit. And to the untrained eye, the naive people like me when I was born through my 20s and even early 30s, they can con most people unless you're in tune with how deceptive they are and how the world really works. And then when you've been through the bullshit that I've been through, and apparently Butterfly Garden's been through, and so many other people have been through, I can smell a narcissist a mile away. They stink. I don't care how pretty they are. I don't care how charming they are. I don't care how they make you feel, how good he is in bed or she is in bed. I don't care how wonderful they are. If you can smell a narcissist and you can identify them, stay away from them. Don't be friends with them. Don't sleep with them. Don't marry them. Don't have children with them. Don't do business deals with them. Don't piss on their house if it was on fire. Don't have anything to do with them, because they will make your life a living hell. Johnny's going to get a lot of relief when this is over and he wins, but it's going to take him a long time to like monetarily, he's fine. He'll be fine, and he's going to get a huge relief, but this has taken a toll in the last 6 or 8 years, but it's not over. Even once he wins the court case, it'll be a huge relief, but there's going to still be some aspects of his life. He spent a significant portion of his life thinking he was being a good man and genuinely trying to be a good man to this lady. And he felt duped, and nobody likes to be duped. You feel foolish. You feel dumb. It makes you feel really, really dumb when you get duped. Nobody likes to. That's like the end of the old saying goes, "Oh, you made him out to be the fool he is." Well, the reason people say it is because if it happens to you, you don't like it because you feel stupid, and you don't want anybody thinking that you're stupid. So I don't think Johnny's stupid. I pity him. I'm shocked that he's 15 years older than me and he fell for it. Like, Jesus Christ, man. DeFi Dad, I'm still learning to identify them here. I assume you're talking about narcissists. Do your best. It is worth, I would say every human being on the planet ought to spend a significant amount of time, like a college course, except do it on your own time. Watch YouTube videos on narcissism, whether it's, a video like mine or it's live recorded, or, the Johnny Depp stuff where he's, the case that he's going through. That lady's a full-blown narcissist. Nothing is her fault. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Just ask her. She'll tell you. Watch documentaries, watch doctors who actually specialize in narcissism, counselors. There's all kinds of wonderful, wonderful YouTube videos you can watch on narcissism. I think it's worth every single human being educating themselves. Like you learn to, reading, writing, arithmetic. It ought to be reading, writing, arithmetic, and learn what the fucking narcissist is and how to define them, like in grade school or in high school, and then take advantage college courses on it or something, because they're so dangerous. I don't think there's very many of them. I think their stories are so prevalent, but as far as a percentage of the population, I really don't think there's really that many of them. I would dare say there's probably less than 5% of the population, maybe 1%. But, everybody knows at least 100 people. Hell, even little kids know 100 people. I don't know what the percentage is, but one of those 100 people is a narcissist and they're dangerous. You have to stay away from them. At best, you just, they'll greet you. You can say hello to them. You can, in passing, or maybe you're in a church with them or in some kind of group with them, but don't have anything personal to do with them. Well, kiddos, we are an hour and 15 minutes into this. I'm pleasantly surprised that I got through it without a major screw up, and hopefully, I assume my volume has worked. I would like to get to the point. There's this deal down here. I can bring in guests, and I can put my face over to the side and bring in 2 or 3 or 4 guests and play different kinds of clips. I just haven't done it yet, but now that I've got a feel for it, thank you. I can't remember who it was. Thank you, whoever it was, letting me know, about the thumbnail. So this was a learning experience, but y'all go have a fantastic rest of this month's almost over here in just a few hours. Tomorrow we are going to be in June. It's going to be officially hot as hell here in Florida. So I'm going to end this, and I shall catch y'all on the flip side. Don't hit your cheerings.